What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Chinnist. Today is May 30th, Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. I have my massive haul here of 31 with 24 different titles. I have read through this stack, so starting off on the DC side, we have Justice League, No Justice. Man, this has been an exciting storyline all the way through, man, from number 1 all the way through number 4. If you will be picking up the new Justice League reboot that's going to be coming out, I highly suggest for y'all to go pick up the trade, or go pick up issues number 1 through 4, the weekly release, to go get the storyline, because this one really set up the teams going forward. Highly suggest for y'all to read through this one. So again, this was really about the Omega Titans. These are like celestial gods who are going around. They planted seeds in these planets, across the universe. It collected energy, and they're basically going to go eat the planets. So Justice League is trying to figure out, teaming up with the villains, trying to figure out a way to stop the celestial beings from eating the planets. Great storyline, again, action-packed all the way through. Highly suggest. The only complaint that I really had was the artwork. The artwork seemed to be very inconsistent all the way through. Some pages were good, some were not. Other than that, action-packed nonetheless. So yeah, check it out, Justice League, No Justice. Alright, next up, the Man of Steel. So this is Bendis here coming on to DC, grabbing a hold of this Superman going forward. So Superman, I have picked up so far Rebirth in trade. I've only read through like volume number 1 and 2, so I have not finished all the Superman run so far. So I don't have as much to compare. I read through the new 52 Superman, back in the day as well. So I don't have as much to compare as y'all do, who actually picked up this Superman on a monthly basis. But I would say, Bendis kind of made Superman, I think, a little bit more sarcastic than what he traditionally has been. And in my opinion, this is going to really focus around Clark Kent a lot more than what it has previously. And I feel it's, so far, this issue's made him a little bit more personable, a little bit more relatable, in my opinion. So yeah, I did enjoy this title so far. I will be picking it up all the way through number 6. So yeah, Man of Steel. Alright, next up, Batman. So this is Prelude to the Wedding between Catwoman and Batman, which I'm really looking forward to so far. This one issue here really focused around Selina and Damian. So I've not really read too many titles or too many issues that I recall that had too much interaction between these two. Just not much dialogue that I recall so far. And this one was pretty good in my opinion. This is more of a character development for Damian here, most of the issue here. But, at the very end, you get a little bit more dialogue, a little bit more heartfelt conversation between the two about, going forward, Selina becoming Damian's stepmother going forward, how that's going to be. Man, really enjoyed that. This was a... not a throwaway issue by any means. If you're into the wedding, I highly suggest for y'all to go pick up this little one-shot. Robin versus Ra's al Ghul. Alright, getting into the DC Hanna-Barbera crossover. So I picked up 3 of the 4. The only one I did not pick up was the Hong Kong Phooey. So if that one's good, guys, and y'all liked it, let me know. So this one was the Flash with Speed Buggy. Man, so I used to grow up on almost all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I used to love Speed Buggy, man. I had the thermos with the his logo on the cup and everything, man. So I don't know why I loved it so much. I think it was really more the way that he was drawn. I loved a lot of Japanese anime, futuristic cars. I think it's really the way that they drew him is what attracted me to Speed Buggy as I was growing up as a little kid. So again, love the Flash. They focus more on Wally West Flash here. So pretty cool. This is more the origin story of Speed Buggy more than anything else, this entire issue. There's, of course, some action that occurs here, but really more about the origin story of Speed Buggy. And really enjoy the artwork as well. Really give this one maybe like a 3.75 out of 5, in my opinion. So yeah, really enjoy this one. A little fun one-shot quick read. Alright, next up we have Jabberjaw Aquaman. So, man, again, I loved almost all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons out there. Love Jabberjaw. So Jabberjaw, and again, this is the cover B by Joshua Middleton. I saw this one sell out, so I picked up one more. So this is going to go in my PC, and this is my reader copy. So Jabberjaw was kind of like a amalgam. He was like a mix of like Rodney Dangerfield, I Get No Respect, and the Three Stooges, I'm sorry, not Moe, Curly from the Three Stooges. So it's like Curly and Rodney Dangerfield kind of mixed up together. Really enjoyed that, that hilarious, like, quick wit, always kind of laughing at his little, jokes he makes in the background. The only complaint, this was a very fun read. If you know who Jabberjaw is, I would, suggest to pick this one up. If you don't know, I don't know if you would actually enjoy this issue. My only complaint, I remember when he was walking on land, he would kind of walk on his fins. In this one issue, he kind of flies through the air. I'm not sure why they did that. That's, really my only complaint out of this entire issue. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Oh, and they also bring in C-Lab 2020 into this world somehow. So I'm not sure like how that happened. So this is C-Lab from like Cartoon Networks, which I used to love that cartoon show. So I thought that was a little bit different. So yeah, Jabberjaw Aquaman. All right, so I heard that the Super Sons Synomutt was the best storyline of the 4. So I went and picked up both cover A and cover B of this one, and I accidentally picked up a second cover A when I went to my second LCS. So became my reader copy. I'll throw this one into the spec box. So I really enjoyed, this was more of a heartfelt tearjerker type of storyline. If you are a dog lover, this will definitely pull on those strings, in my opinion. So this is kind of like an origin story of Dynomutt, how did he become Dynomutt, and Blue Falcon. So, growing up, I recall Blue Falcon being like a Batman ripoff, and he really is. And they kind of like talk about it just a little bit here in this one issue. But what's pretty cool is how you see how the Blue Falcon kind of grew up, alongside Bruce Wayne, and they're both, billionaires, and it's pretty cool how they, both coincided, in the same universe here is what they explain. But yeah, really enjoy this issue. If you are into the Super Sons, definitely check this one out. You don't really even have to know who Dynomutt and Blue Falcon is, this one case. So yeah, this is definitely the best. If you're going to go pick up any of the 4, I would say this one. But again, if the Hong Kong Fooey was good, guys, please let me know. Alright, last up from DC, we have Doomsday Clock. So when Doomsday Clock came out, I went back and I got Watchmen in trade, read through it, man, loved it. So I had read through it before when I was younger, but reading through it just one more time as I've gotten a little bit older, matured, look for those, more intricate storylines, man, absolutely love it. I really feel this is like a part 2 to the original Watchmen. A lot of people, I see a lot of mixed reviews, people who really love the Watchmen, like, they hate this title, and I just don't understand that. I think Jeff Johns did a great job, paying homage to the original Watchmen, and they really carried it over in both the artwork as well as the storytelling. So, this is just like this one issue is just like, wow. The various storylines that they've been setting up here, and this is only issue number 5. I can only imagine where they're going to go from here. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. So, again, if you were into the Watchmen, I highly suggest you go try out this issue. Try out the series overall. Even if you have no clue what the Watchmen was. I really feel that this is a great storyline, in and of itself. So, guys, if, for the story lovers out there, I highly suggest to check out this Doomsday Clock. Okay, next up, this was a big milestone from Marvel now. We have Amazing Spider-Man number 800. So this was the absolute conclusion of the run from Dan Slott as a writer, as well as the Red Goblin storyline. I don't even read Amazing Spider-Man, but the Red Goblin, with all the hype, I got into it, and man, love the storyline. So this, if you could see how thick this one issue is, it is amazing. This is like a trade paperback in and of itself. There is I think this may be like the only ad in this entire issue. It's like straight up like reading an action, it's like watching an action movie all the way through. So if you are a Spider-Man fan, I highly suggest you go pick up this, milestone number 800. You don't even have to know what's going on with the Red Goblin. They kind of give you like a quick summary at the very beginning. So if you're into Spider-Man, I highly suggest you go check out this one issue. Great high action thriller. I was lucky enough to pick up, this is the Gabriel Del Auto incentive variant. This one on eBay was going for between like $30 to $80 for the buy it now, and Midtown was listing this one at $75. So I was able to actually pick up, man, 2 of these at my first LCS that I went to, man. Great finds up, you know, only pay cover price at both my LCS for any variants they pick up. Great stuff, so really happy to pick up 2 of those. Alright, next up, another Spider-Man issue, Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. So, you know, I really love Anime, who is the daughter of Peter Parker and Mary Jane, here in this one, like, little universe that they have here going on just for this one title. This one really focuses more on Mary Jane and Peter Parker going on a cruise and like how they kind of deal with, you know, their life as a superhero, trying to relax. Of course, they get attacked on the ship. A little quick, like one-off, like adventure. You know, I enjoy the other issues before this one, but you know, pretty good storyline to kind of carry it forward. All right, next up, Infinity Countdown, Captain Marvel. So this was pretty good. So I've not really been reading too much on the Captain Marvel side or the Alpha Flight, you know, really know what's going on in the space station. This kind of gives you like a quick rundown of kind of like, you know, what's been going on with Captain Marvel. So pretty good background to kind of like catch you up. In addition to that, she also has a Reality Stone. So this one issue kind of explained like how the Reality Stone kind of worked. And she's essentially able to talk to, kind of like an avatar. She could communicate with anyone who had the Reality Stone in the other multiverses. So I thought that was pretty cool, the way that the stone, how they explained the stone kind of worked. So again, if you're into Captain Marvel, this is kind of like a good, you know, preview of what's to come and kind of catches you up of, you know, what's happened here to her in the past. So yeah, Infinity Countdown. Alright, next up, Star Wars Lando Double or Nothing. So I did see the Solo this past, I think Friday is when I saw that one. A little bit disappointed with that movie, guys. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of mixed reviews out there. You know, so Lando was one of those, Lando was definitely better than Han. You know, he acted with great mannerisms, you know, some of the phrases he said. However, my main complaint, you know, without giving away too many spoilers for the movie was, you know, all the fanboys kind of built him up to be like this debonair, like playboy. You know, this guy's just always hooking up with the women, you know, always like in the casinos. And the movie did not really portray him to be like that. You know, he was just more of like a, you know, again, I don't want to give away too much, but that definitely was not the Lando that I built up in my mind. This issue, however, is the Lando that, you know, was built up in my mind. This Lando, although it has the same characters as the Han Solo movie, this Lando is different, in my opinion. You know, this guy's actually hooking up with women, you know, this is the way that I felt Han should have been in the movie. So disappointed with the movie. If you were looking for more for Lando, check out this one title. They did a pretty good job, in my opinion. Alright, next up, XMen Blue. So this one kind of deals, you know, the main team is still off Earth and doing the Venomized storyline, which is already concluded, but a little bit behind here in this in the one title as far as the timeline. So they're kind of dealing with the remaining X-Men who are out there, who are going against Havoc, the White Witch, and some of the others, Miss Sinister, that they kind of these new opponents they kind of, you know, threw together. Pretty good fighting action all the way through. The White Witch kind of flips sides, you know, and anyways, very, very good action all the way through. Again, I pick up all the X-Men titles out there, and apparently I think we're going to see the evil Havoc go away, and we're going to have the good Havoc come back. So a little bit of a twist here at the very end. Won't give away everything there, but yeah, I love all the X titles that are out there right now. Alright, speaking of X titles, here was XMen Read. This is annual number 1. So in this one issue, what they did was, this was like the tie-in between the Phoenix Resurrection title that came out and the very first XMen Read. This is like in between those two issues. So this is like literally like moments right after Jean Grey just came back. And, you know, conversations they had, reminiscing, you know, feelings, emotions that kind of go through, her kind of experiencing the new Earth, the new world, you know, since she's been gone. So if you're a Jean Grey fan, you know, I suggest for you to pick this one up. I did not like the artwork whatsoever. I really felt this is like a, man, maybe like a 1.5 out of 5 in my opinion. So yeah, horrible artwork. The storyline was decent if you're into Jean Grey. All right, moving on to Image. We have The Last Siege. This is a number 1. Didn't really know what to expect from this one. You know, I heard like a Game of Thrones-ish type of storyline. I'm not really a Game of Thrones fan. Not really sure what to, say about this one. So this one kind of sets up, you don't really know too much. They really start setting up this main character, start building up this little fortress town that they have, this castle that they have. Starts explaining, some of the people who control, the land at this point in time as they introduce this new character coming in. And it's really about all this new character, a little bit of a twist of who he is and how he's connected to the, to the feudal system, going forward. But not enough to totally capture me. I will be picking up that number 2, but not really sold on this title as of yet. But yeah, if you were looking for Image number 1, this one has potential. Alright, Kill or Be Killed. Man, love this title. So, this is one, as I said before, I picked up in trade. I passed up on the floppies at the very beginning. Love that trade. Man, fell in love with it, by page number 5. Went back and got all the floppies. I think I have like 3 or 4 copies of number 1 now at this point in time. But man, love this one. So this one, they've really built up. So you have the detective who's been kind of like piecing things together. She has actually visited his mother. She knows for a fact, at this point in time, that this guy was a vigilante, even though there was another vigilante that was, captured and killed, or not captured, but killed. She knows that this guy had to have been like another vigilante. The other guy had to have been a copycat. Things are coming out. The Russians start to get involved. A lot of action actually happens here in this one issue. Great stuff, guys. So, no supernatural, the supernatural's in the background, but nothing supernatural here in this one issue. This is kind of like the aftermath of everything that's kind of like built up on the side. Loved this issue, number 19, Kill or Be Killed. Alright, next up we have Versus. So, Versus was really, futuristic arena type of action that's going on. A lot of politics that kind of occurs in the background, which I could do without. The artwork alone, man, was phenomenal in this one title. This one issue had a lot of great action in here, but the artwork alone, man. So whenever this one actually comes out in trade, if you're looking for some action with good artwork, definitely pick up this this one in trade, in my opinion. So there's this one page, like, oh yeah. I mean, just the coloring, the artwork, the detail, loved it. So yeah, Versus, and I think this is number 4. All right. Realm number 6. So this is kind of like a little Walking Dead-ish type of feel to it. Definitely has that Walking Dead feel to it. Even into issue number 6. At first I was going to see if it kind of like went separate tracks. It definitely has that feel, but yet stands alone at the same time. So you have our little group of heroes who are going after the orcs. They're on their tail, and just a little bit of team dynamics. They get to learn, how they fight, how they strategize, just kind of learning how to work with each other. And they do run into some quick opposition. So great action, great fighting, great dialogue. So yeah, Realm is starting to be a little bit of a slow burn, but really good stuff in my opinion so far. All right, next up, Barrier. So this is by Brian K. Vaughan. Man, so this actually concludes this entire little mini series here at number 5. This was completely different. Completely loved it. Again, I've talked about the format here. You have the widescreen type of format. That in and of itself is like enough for me to suggest for you to try to go just pick it up, see what you think about it. This issue, there's a lot of here that a lot of this issue is actually done in Spanish, and they purposely do not translate it. Assuming that you don't speak any Spanish whatsoever, but just by reading, what's going on in the English that you do read, and the artwork really tells the storyline, by itself. So, this one really concludes this little alien storyline, weird storyline. If you're looking for something different, I highly suggest you go pick this one up, Barrier. And I think that, the overall theme was, crime has no limits. Crime is universal. All right, next up from Aftershock we have Pestilence. So this is like the second story arc that's come out so far. This is a story of Satan. This was cover A, if I recall that one correctly. So we kind of pick up, I think this is actually 2 years after that first story arc. And that first story arc, you know, about the, I forgot what the little group was, the Lux Fiat, I think is what the little group was called. Basically like a little group of Knights Templar serving the Pope. First story arc was about the zombies. Man, absolutely loved it. The artwork is phenomenal, in my opinion, kind of like a 4.25 or 4.5 out of 5. And I actually love the lettering here in this one as well. Man, absolutely love it. So again, this is 2 years fast forward, and a little bit of a different, no zombies this go around in this story arc. Now we kind of deal with like a demon, or maybe like Lucifer himself here, who's come to life into hosted into another human. So yeah, really enjoy that first one. If you enjoy that first one, this one really kind of picks up. It's not all zombie related like I thought it would be, but yeah, that little group that we knew in the first series, man, picked it up here, loved it. All right, next up by Black Mask, We Are the Danger. So I picked this one up, just kind of heard that, you know, it involved a couple of the main characters who were trying to start a rock band. And, you know, just playing drums and guitar, it kind of intrigued me a little bit, so I went ahead and picked it up. The artwork, kind of like a Japanese anime, you know, feel to it. It was an okay, you know, storyline, more of like a high school, you know, group, cliquish feel to it. You know, if you're into that, you know, pick this one up. I will not be picking up number 2 on. So yeah, We Are the Danger. Alright, next up from Dark Horse, we have Harrow County number 31. This actually concludes this one series. I did not pick up the series in floppies. I wish I did. I picked this one up in trade. Absolutely loved it, man. I love a lot of work by Cullen Bunn. So I'm trying to go back and I'm trying to get to issues number 1 through 12 at this point in time in floppies. But, you know, 31s are usually a little bit more coveted, you know, along the series, so I wanted to make sure I pick up a 31 in nice clean condition, put in my PC, you know, if I ever go back to try to, you know, get the entire collection. But yeah, so again, I did not read through this one just because I'm trying to read through this one in trade. But man, I absolutely love this title. So again, a lot of things by Cullen Bunn, a lot of his horror stuff, man, he knocks that stuff out of the park in my opinion. So yeah, Harrow County. Alright, this one was pretty cool. So this is by Statics Press. This is 2021 Lost Children. So this is kind of like Akira mixed with Harbinbger, in my opinion, you know, the Harbinbger from the Valiant world. So you have like these 5 kids, and you know, you don't know the full extent of their powers. They have like a lot of different like mutant powers. And what's kind of like a little bit of a twist, as they use their powers, they age tremendously, like years upon years, because they all start out, I think, at like 3 or 4 years old. They're super intelligent, you know, they've been kind of like genetically modified by the government. Great storyline, excellent artwork. I'd say this is maybe a 4 out of 5. No ads throughout this whole thing. It's like a little bit of a like a trade, you know, reading like an action trade all the way through. So yeah, if you're into the mutant world, check this one out. 2021 Lost Children. Alright, next up, this was by Titan Comics. This is Bloodborne. This is from the this is from the video game side of things. I think this actually concludes this little mini-series here. Excellent artwork in my opinion. So that's what kind of like started drawing me to this one issue more than anything, or this one title more than anything else. This one issue is kind of weird. It's kind of like these current Bloodshot storylines that we're getting. You know, just a little... I think a little bit more reminiscent of like the old like the heavy metal storylines where like the fantasy, you know, there's conversation and then just kind of goes off like into a dream. You know, this kind of has that feel to it. Loved it. So yeah, Bloodborne. If you're into the video game, highly suggest for you to pick this one up. If you're into horror, check this one out just for the artwork. Right. So last up from Valiant, we have Harbinger Wars 2. So I accidentally picked up one more copy of my second LCS. That's going to go into my PC. The reader copy is going into the spec box. This issue was great. So this one kicked it off. Actually, the Prelude that one-shot Prelude that came out, I think maybe like 2 weeks ago. If you're going to read through this one, I highly suggest you go pick up the Prelude. Those events really set up this war. So just to kind of summarize, you have Livewire, who is able to control all electronics. This is Livewire here. She basically does like a global EMP. She turns off everything. The reason why she does that's in protest because she's finding out the government is hunting down and killing younger Psiots, who are like mutants, younger children who have powers. So she's trying to get the world to kind of listen to her. This is starting all types of friction everywhere. So you have all these various heroes coming in, and they're forming different parties. So Ninjak is with his government. Bloodshot is with the Harbingers. And you have, who was the other guy? Oh, XMen Wars teaming up with the U.S. government, who is trying to hunt down, some of these Psiots. So, man, this is going to be a huge, big bang 'em up type of party here. Like 4 different factions all coming together. So, yeah, this is going to be a phenomenal fight going forward. Really looking forward to this one. So, guys, that's going to be it for this week's brand new haul. Just a quick update for next week. I will be out of town, so there's not going to be a new issue haul for next week. So I will catch you the week following. Hopefully I'll be able to get out what I picked up at Comicpalooza this past weekend. So guys, that's going to be it for this week's haul. Should you enjoy what you see here, please like and subscribe. And talk to you later.